What's up, guys, and happy Friday. It's Josh from Cardfight Empire here today, bringing you guys our next future fight for BT10. Today we are going to be talking about Gurguit, the Paladin boys. As you can see, I'm wearing yellow. That's not really why I'm wearing yellow, but we are going to be testing Gurguit today, or talking about Gurguit rather. Um, my Gurguit build is actually pretty simplistic. It contains the new stuff, but I didn't really use it a lot except for like the new Gurguit Grade 3. But I really like the build. But without further ado, let's get right into that. Let's flip all these G units. So golds, I don't know if any of you watch the anime. Probably most of you do. But people always talk about how Taio sacks in the anime. And after playing this deck, I can justify his sack because Gold Paladin is so good at like looking at the cards of your deck and placing cards that aren't triggers and putting the triggers back into your deck. So by the time you get to like Glorious Reigning Dragon or something like that, literally your deck is like mostly triggers. So I don't think that he's sacking at all when he double triggers or triple triggers like I've done it in this deck. And not because it's just lucky, it's just like you have a lot of triggers in your deck. But yeah, let's get into the build. So I ran 3 of the new Gurguit, Golden Holy Sword Gurguit. So this Gurguit is actually pretty cool and works really well with the new PG. Basically, all your rearguards, its Generation Break 2 skill is Unite, so you keep in mind that you do have to call 2 cards to the Guardian Circle before you can gain the ability, and you have to be GB2. So all your rearguards get Intercept, and they get a continuous skill that says this unit can intercept from the back row during the unit that your Vanguard was attacked. So basically, you can intercept with the PG, and then once the PG goes to the Guardian Circle, you can discard a card and just perfect guard from the rearguard circle. So that's pretty good skill. Its second ability is kind of the same as old Gurguit on Stride skill, but it costs a soul. The only 2 differences is 1, it costs a Soul Blast, and 2, if you call a unit with the Unite ability off of the skill, you get to look at the top card of your deck and call it as Rest. Now, I wish that you didn't have to call it as Rest because it would be a lot better, but it basically is just there to help you trigger Unite faster. Also, if you call like a Scarface Lion as your rested unit, you get really lucky. Scarface Lion and Ringer are like, and Kugel pretty much are like the only cards that you can call off of that, and it'd be like super useful in my opinion. So yeah, you counterblast 1, soul blast 1, look at top 4 cards of your deck, call a card out to the rearguard circle. If it has Unite, then you put your deck, or you put the cards back, shuffle, and then you look at the top card of your deck and just call it to the field. So it's a pretty cool card. We have 3 of the old Gurguit. Pretty self-explanatory. Its Generation Break 2 lets you counterblast 1, soul blast 1, and then at the beginning of the guard step, you can look at the top 4 cards of your deck and call a card to the Guardian Circle. So that's pretty cool. It also works well with this new PG. So being on either Gurguit is fine in my opinion, but this one's just a little bit better because you can intercept with your PG off the field, which means that calling it to the field is not ever a problem. Except if you're against like a retire deck and they can retire your PG, which sucks, but yeah. I run 1 dongle. So mostly in this deck you want rear guards. Like you want cards that can be rear guards, that can be decent rear guards. So Unite, it gains intercept, and then when it intercepts it gets plus 5,000 shield. So it basically just becomes a grade 2, a 10k booster, and then when it's placed on rear guard it also gains boost. So you can also boost with it and then intercept with it from the back row. So that's pretty cool. Intercept with it from the back row if you're on this Gurguit. So I run 3 Henrys. It is the counterblast 1, soul blast 1 for Gurguit. I mean, you can use it in any gold paladin deck, which is something that I just realized. because it's when placed on rear guard, counter blast 1, soul blast 1, and look at the top 3 cards of your deck and call something to the rear guard circle and put the rest on the bottom. And then if you have a Vanguard with Gurguit in its name, it and the unit that you call get 3k. So you only have to do the additional skill if you're on Gurguit Vanguard, so it's pretty good. I would say that you could pretty much use in any gold paladin deck, Liberators, anything like that. Then we run 3 Beauregard. This has always been one of my favorite gold paladin cards. I just really like cards that gain power by themselves, because sometimes I don't have boosters, and I still want them to be able to hit my opponent's Vanguard. So when it attacks a Vanguard, it gets 5,000 until the end of the battle if you're in Unite. So basically it's a 14k by itself, and if it's boosted by 7k, that's already 21k column, which is super good. We run 3 Saphir. So Saphir basically is, for those of you who are familiar with Night Rose, it's kind of like King Serpent. Whenever it's placed, except when it's placed on rearguard circle from the deck. So when it's placed on rearguard circle from the deck, you can unflip 1, like countercharge 1, and soul charge 1, which is pretty cool when you call it off of stuff like Henry's or the new Gurguit, and you want to refill your soul and your counterblast. Like, it just makes it free. Then you have 3 Famgoal. Famgoal just says when it's placed on the rearguard circle, you can look at 3 more cards from the top of your deck and then place another one. So Famgoal just gives you a free +1, which is awesome. Then we have 4 Stride Fodder, pretty standard. We have 4 Jeffrey, pretty standard in Gold Paladin. This card's pretty good. I wouldn't say that it's broken or anything, but it's pretty up there in terms of being really good. Like, it fuels your soul and also gives you draw power after already having done its job as a booster, and it like clears up space on your board for you to do your calls next turn to get Unite again. So it's pretty good. The new PG is amazing in my opinion. First of all, the fact that you don't have to place it on the Guardian Circle from your hand is a big bonus, because you can use it with old Gurguit, new Gurguit, and it does not matter, and you can still PG. And then also, if you're in Unite, you can choose one of your rear guards and put it on the bottom of your deck for the cost, and then it can gain 15,000 shield. So let's say that you're against, let's see, someone made an example to me the other day. Let's say that you're facing your opponent and they have Vanquisher. So they have VMAX, and let's say that they attack your Vanguard and one of your rear guards. When you place this PG on the Vanguard circle, you can PG your Vanguard and then choose one of your rear guards and put it on the bottom of your deck and choose to block for 15k shield for one of your rear guards. So I think that's pretty cool. So then we run 2 1-ofs, 1 Knight of Spring Sun Conanis, basically gains plus 1,000 for each of your cards with Unite ability. I really like this card. It gives me a little boost sometimes when I need it. If you don't like it, you can always change it out with another Cool Ghoul just says when you place it from the deck, draw a card. Draw power is always good. We run Coel, the only really good starter, in my opinion, for Gold Paladin. When you're Unite, so basically after you've called 2 units, you can just shove into Soul and look at top 3 again and call another card. So with all these units that say look at the top amount, call a card, and put the other card back and shuffle, that's what I'm talking about with like going through your deck, making your deck thinner to get more triggers. So it's very good. We have 4 Scarface Lion, pretty good, especially in this deck where Soul is required. Flame of Victory. So we run 7 crit, 5 stand, and 4 heal. So Scarface Lion and Flame of Victory, very good for fueling the soul. Harry is also good for fueling the soul and being a 7k booster by himself and allowing you to countercharge. So that's pretty good. And we run 1 Ringer because sometimes when I place Ringer off of a card that calls another skill or something like that, if they get called at the same time, you can just instantly use Ringer because they count as being placed at the same time, and so it triggers Ringer. So it's very good, and then you can just return Ringer to your deck. And stand triggers actually matter in this deck because your rear guards are huge usually. So then we just have 4 generic heals. Then going into the stride zone, we run 2 Golden Dragon, Glorious Reigning Dragon. You counterboss 1, and you flip itself, and then you choose 2 of your rear guards, put them on the bottom of your deck. Then you look at top 7, and you can call a card for every card face up in your G zone. And then if you call 3 or more, then you can countercharge 1, soul charge 1. This card is super, super good. When it first came out, I remember thinking that it wasn't that great, but this card is super, super good, as it allows you to keep doing what I've been talking about the whole time, thinning your deck for triggers. And once you get to this, like I usually only use it like second or third stride, and once you get to this and you look at top 7 and you call 2 or 3 cards and you put it back, like you're most likely going to check double or triple trigger, which is pretty great. It's amazing. Not to mention getting more attacks during your battle phase. That's also really good. So you have 2 Scourge Point Dragon, one of literally the best strides that Gold Paladin has for Gurguit in specific, is whenever one of your units is placed from the deck, that unit and this unit gets plus 5,000 power. So if your opponent's at 5 damage and you know that they don't have a PG, they're about to get hit really hard with Scourge Point. Because Scourge Point can easily reach like 61 and ridiculous numbers like that. So then we have 2 Sunrise Ray Radiant Sword Gurguit. Now, a lot of people are surprised that I'm not playing for the new Gurguit. I guess you could take these out technically, because I never used them. I just put them in for the little use that they do have in certain situations. But we have 2 Sunrise Ray Radiant Sword Gurguit. You counterboss 1, soul boss 2 when you unite, and it's basically a Platina Ezel. You give 5 of your rear guards 5k, and then your Vanguard gets 5k for every rear guard that you have. So usually if you have a full board, you give 25 to the Vanguard, 5k to everything else. Then we have Holy Sword Heavenly Law Gurguit. It's a pretty good card. It allows you to call cards on attack, and then all your units get plus 2,000 for every card with Gurguit in its name. So I actually prefer to use these first, and then if they live that, then I'll use this, and then all of my units will get 6k. So that's pretty good. I also run 1 Peak Build Dragon when when my opponent's not giving me counterblasts. It's pretty good. It also gets 3k for every one of your rear guards, so it just swings for huge. Rising Shine Dragon gives you an unhit stride to go into should your opponent be at very low damage and you don't want to Scourge Point them because you feel like it won't do anything for stride. You can go into Rising Shine and literally just get more attacks when your attack hits. Then we run 1 Sabreeze because Sabreeze is Sabreeze, and then we run 5 G Guardians. So we run 2 Slay Me Flare, 1 Rhea, 1 Dismal, and 1 Screw. So Slay Me Flare is just like probably the best G Guard, which is why we run 2. Not only does it allow you to recycle your pieces by its cost being put 1 unit to the bottom of the deck. When you look at the top 5 cards of your deck and you call 2 different grades, that's usually 15k shield, assuming that you get like a 0 and a 1 or a 2. So you literally guard, and then it's like plus 15k. So it's literally 41 most of the time. So it's a very good guard amount. I really like that card. So then we have Rhea for those situations where you don't really need to Slay Me Flare or you don't want to. Rhea, if you have 2 or more rear guards, which you usually will because you're Gold Paladin, it just gets plus 5,000 shield, so it's 31. Dismal. Dismal exists for the D-Police matchup. I can't really imagine a time where you'll want to protect something on your field, except maybe your PG. Let's say that your opponent attacks you with the Kagero on stride unit. Maybe you can G-guard their rear guard attack just so that you can give resist to the PG, and that you can go into GB2 the next turn. Or and then they attack you with their Vanguard, and then they can't retire the PG, so that's useful for you. It's mostly useful in the D-Police matchup, I feel like. when your opponent swings at your rear guard, give it resist and that it can't be hit. So that's very helpful with like anti-laurel plays and stuff like that. So we have one screw. Screw's just, you know, generic plus 10k. Sometimes you don't really want to call cards off of Slimy Flare, especially triggers, because you might be like at a low amount in deck, or you might not have a card on your board that you actually want to return to the deck, because you are going -1 to guard when you go Slimy Flare. So sometimes you just screw and you discard a card, and then you just get that 10k that you wanted. Alright, so with that deck review, we're going to open back area and get into the games. Alright. So we're loading the replay. Gurguit 1. Alright, so this first game we're playing against Genesis, like a Genesis Witch deck, which is pretty interesting. I ride my Stride Fodder, they ride an Owl, and I 10k no pass them. So then I ride a grade 2, I play Saphir, like I basically play a whole board, because I just want to get attacks out of them, but I end up critting, and then I attack, so already at 4 damage, which is not good for them. I'm liking the fact that I'm going first this time, considering that I only have a Guru in my hand. It gives me 2 drive checks to try to check a Stride Fodder, but I end up checking a Stride Fodder anyways, or drawing one for turn. So they also have to G-assist, which is quite unfortunate, but they do get the grade 3, and they get rid of 2 crits, and then they discard 2 cards of Stride, I think. Yeah, so they discarded 2 cards of Stride, so that's unfortunate in itself. And I'm also still at 0 damage, so I can literally take whatever punishment they throw at me, and I just literally won't care. So right here, he uses Chimera skill. His heart gives 3k to the front row for every card soul charged. I end up G-guarding his first attack because I wanted to put that Saphir back into my deck. That was like the main reason. And getting GB2, but I don't think it matters because I think I went into Scourge Point for my first Stride. But he attacks with Demeter. I no guard. He does check a critical and a stand, which is pretty good. So I take 2 damage. And then he also has an on-hit ability, I think. Oh, no. He doesn't have an on-hit ability because he never soul blasted. But I Stride into Scourge Point. Yeah, like I said. I use Gurguit skill to counterboss 1, look at the top 4 cards of my deck, and then I call a Saphir, which is one of the main reasons that I put it back. It is super good like that. It gets 2k from Gurguit, and then 5k from Scourge Point, and Gurguit itself gets 5k. Then I use Coel Unite skill to shove into Soul after playing this Saphir from my hand, calling this Scarface Lion here. And then the other cards go back to my deck, and I shuffle, and then I call Jeffrey, and the Scarface Lion gets 5k, and Scourge Point gets another 5k. So I'm attacking him for 21. He has to guard with 2 cards. Or sorry, yeah, it's just 17. My bad. So I attacked him 17. I did check a stand trigger after he PG'd. And then he used my grade 1 after that, and then he has to guard with all the cards in his hand. So at this point, I'm pretty sure that he lost, unless he top deck Stride Fodder, which he did not, which is unfortunate, because he really can't do anything with what he has. So he Soul Blast through Regalia cards to give his unit an on-hit ability and power from the Soul Blasted units. So I just no guard it. And he does check a critical, so I do go to 5 damage. But, yeah, so he checks the top 2 cards of his deck, and he gets to put 1 into the soul and 1 into the hand. So he puts a heal trigger into the hand, which is pretty decent. And then I asked him if he wanted to retire one, because during his soul blast, he did Hesperus, and that gives your Vanguard a on-hit ability. So right here, I go into Glorious Rain Dragon. I look at top 4, and I call Conanis. I probably should have called Jeffrey there, now that I'm thinking about it. But I call Conanis because why not? So Conanis gets 2k, and then it gets its own power from having like plus 1k for each Unite ability on the board. So then I attack 15, and then I used the skill of Glorious Rain right here to flip a Glorious Rain and put the 2 front units back to my deck. Look at top 7 and call 2 cards. Or sorry, call 3 cards. And as you guys can see, when I did that, like, most of these are triggers. You see, like, there's 5 triggers here, and then there's this grade 3 that I just called, and this grade 2. So the 3 units that I decided to call are this, and Ringer. So just like I talked about in the profile, when you call Ringer, you can use Ringer to trigger off of one of these. So I use it to give Dongul plus 5k, because it's the one that needs to hit his Vanguard. And then he no guards it. I check his stand, giving power to this side, and stand to this side, and then I check double crit. So he's super dead. But yeah, that was pretty unfortunate for him that he had to G-assist, and then drop 2 cards to stride. But other than that, I think it was a good showing of what the deck can do. Like, I think that Gold Paladin is really strong, and people really underestimate the deck. Especially when you're fighting Gear Chronicle. I used to hate fighting Gurguit decks with my Gear Chronicle deck, because when you header around their unit back to their deck, if they're on Scourge Point, whatever they call will probably have an on-hit, whatever they call will probably have an on-place ability to call another card, and then they both get plus 5k because it's a Scourge Point. So really, when you head around, it's like you're only screwing yourself over. But we get into our second game here, and we're actually playing against Shadow Paladin. Looks to be Revengers. So I ride my Jeffrey, and I end my turn. He rides Mar. I no guard because he's 6k, I'm 7k, so I don't take a damage. Which is a really good start to the game. I really like when things like that happen. So I attack him for 8. Even though it says 10, he's not really 10. I don't know why, like, Cardfight area glitches sometimes and gives the wrong power. But I do crit him. And he rides mana, which is pretty cool because he gets to call this Ife off of it. Then he uses Ife skill to look for top 5 for a Raging Form. He does not get it. So he shuffles his deck and gives +2 to the Dark Breath Angel. So he goes 8 to my rear guard. I guard because I want to be able to hit his Vanguard with it next turn. And then I guard the other one because I just don't want damage, especially when I don't have a grade 3. So I opt to stay on grade 2 here. And here I got a little confused because there was a Ife in his drop zone, and I didn't see, like, because the movement was really quick. I thought he put the card to drop zone instead of putting it back to the deck via mana skill. So yeah, I got really confused. But then he was explaining that he guarded with it, and I was like, oh yeah, he did guard with one. So yeah, continuing the game, I go 8k to his Vanguard. And he guards with a grade 1, and then I attack him 14. Then I check my grade 3, so I'm like, thank the goodness. But he does, like, draw Luard, but he doesn't ride it, which is strange to me, considering that he doesn't have a Raging Form in his hand. But he attacks 18 to my rear guard. I let it go. Then I only let this attack go because I want to counterblast for Gurguit Stride. So I stride with 2 cards. I go into the boys Scourge Point. I counterblast 1 for Gurguit. Top 4 for Kugel. Now I had the chance to call Saphir or Kugel basically, and I called Kugel so that I could draw another card. hopefully a card that I could play. But I didn't want to play this from my hand because I wanted to keep Stride Fodder. So I ended up just attacking with the Kugel. I did get a stand trigger though, and a crit, which is pretty good. And then I attacked him with 23 for Kugel, and then he dropped 3 cards. So then he top decked Stride Fodder, or sorry, he didn't top deck Stride Fodder. But yeah, he attacks me for 14. I guard it with Harry, whatever his name is. Then he attacks me for 18. I guard, and then he's orgasming me, counterblast 1, soul blast 1. He retired 3, and I was trying to tell him that he only retires 2. But I do not think that he understood what I was saying. But yeah, then he uses Dark Breath to call Mar, and Mar to get a Raging Form to the hand. So he heals, and then crits, and then heals. So I'm like, wow, that's OP. That just puts you back in this game, kind of. So I take 3 damage. Was I supposed? Oh yeah, so I take 3 damage because I took his rear guard too. So I go into Scourge Point again. I use Gurguit skill to look at top 4. This time we get pretty good call off of it. We get Henry's. I put the other cards back, shuffle. Henry's gets 2k. And then I counterblast 1, soul blast 1. Look at top 3 cards of the deck. And then I get a Saphir off of it, which instantly like makes Henry's free. And then Saphir gets 3k from Henry's, and 5k from Scourge Point. So that's what I was talking about. Like, a lot of people are like hating on the fact that you run 8ks, and like 8ks, if they gain power to make 16, like it's not even like an important thing. But then I Coel him, and I look at the top, and I call a card. I end up calling Gary. Gary gets +5, and actually Gary gets +8. So I attack 16, and then I attack 55, and I check a heal trigger, which is pretty cool. I'll take it. So I countercharge 1, and I attack him with a really big attack 2. I was really sad that I double healed, because at least he would have had to guard 1 of those, but he double healed, so I guess not. But he does Spectral Blaster Diablo me, and he Soul Blasts 1 and retires 1 and flips a card in his G zone, being Orgeyser Damned. And then he uses Mana Skill to call Ife. And then he uses Ife skill to look at top 5 for a Raging Form. He does get it, thinning out his deck for more triggers, I guess. He attacked me 26. I no guard. He gets crit, crit, and crit. And I was like, wow. Like, I could have PG'd, I guess, but then it wouldn't have mattered because I would have had to guard really hard. So if he hadn't checked double crit, I'm pretty sure I would have won, because next turn I would have went into Glorious Rain. But yeah, he sacked me really hard, and he won. So next game. Alright, next game. Probably last game, I think. We'll check after this, but yeah, this game I'm actually playing against the new Blaster deck, which this deck is broken. So probably not the version that he's playing. He's playing like the Legend deck version, but I fight my friend using it all the time, and that deck's retarded. But he rides Blaster Blade Spirit, calls, you know, typical Blaster Rush thing. And then I do heal and give power to my Vanguard, so that was pretty awesome. Then he can't hit me with his rear guard, so that relieves a lot of aggression from me. And then I just attack him for 15, which actually is a number. Then I attack him for 16. And I don't check a trigger. He gets a stand trigger. Then he strides with Blast Blade Exceed. So then he uses Exceed's on stride skill to counter boss 1 and get him a Exceed to his hand. And then he uses Religious. And I believe he does not have 2 blaster cards in the soul. Yeah, he doesn't. So he doesn't gain the crit, unfortunately for him. He throws the Marin into the soul to give +3k to the K. I guard it, and then I no guard this. He gets a heal, a crit, and then a draw trigger. Like, I don't know what it is about this deck, but every time I play against the blaster deck, like, they just get the most insane checks, and it's ridiculous. But then he attacks me for 29 twice. I'm like, okay, cool, I guess. So I go to 5 damage, and I go into Scourge Point. This game we're on new Gurguit, so things are a little different from the previous last 2 games. So we counter boss Soul Blast, look at the top 4 cards of the deck, and we call Burgal. I could have called Henry's, but it wouldn't have gained the I can call another unit off the top. So the card that I called off the top was a Stride Fodder, which isn't really bad, but it gives +10k to Scourge Point, and then I can instantly use Coel because of it too. And also Conanis's Unite becomes active, giving it power. So I decided to call Scarface Lion because I do need more cards in my hand, hopefully a PG, because I need to survive the stupidity that's coming next turn, basically. So I attack him for 19. He lets it go. I draw a card, and I attack him for 46. He no guards, and then I crit and crit again. So I didn't have to deal with all the nonsense in his hand. I pretty much just, like, he sacks me, I sack back. That's what we call it. We call it the hashtag sack back. But yeah, basically, guys, those were the games for Gold Paladin. I hope you guys enjoyed the build. And yeah, let me check if there's an additional game, maybe. Maybe you guys got lucky and there's another game for me to show you more than usual. It seems there's not. Alright, yeah, so that was the last game. I hope you guys definitely enjoyed the build. Let me know what you think about it in the comments down below. We will be continuing with this trend. Tomorrow I have an ARG, so I'm not sure if there will be a video tomorrow. But if I can find the time to squeeze a video in, I will, because I love you guys. And you guys love me, and yeah, everything in between, I guess. Whatever that means. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like, comment, subscribe. If you like the video, let me know what you thought in the comments down below. Also, check out all the new things that we have, like our Facebook, Instagram, like our Facebook page, and then also check out our Patreon. I think today I just added rewards to the Patreon, so I've decided that there's going to be like a monthly raffle, and then you guys can check out the other Patreon rewards in there. Everything that I said or that you heard will be down in the description down below, so make sure you click that and read it up, and then I'll see you guys later. Thank you for watching. Bye.